Thank you, Jeanette. Okay. I've always said this computer talks far too much. Welcome along, everybody. It's good to see you here. It's not easy with the peace that we've had the last couple of days to actually get here. But you've made it. And also our wonderful people on Zoom that are there. And we don't have Reverend Sylvia with us today. She's 100, but she managed to get home. Her son brought her home for a couple of hours on Christmas Day, and that was quite a blessing to us all. Now, here we are. The title, Onwards We Go. Don't ask me why I did that, because there's nowhere else to go, is there? Here we are, and this is it. And we are the creation of what we've believed in and lived over our lifetime. And me being in my 80th year, I'm going kicking and screaming, but I'm going to enjoy being older. Baba Ram Das, who was a mystic, he finished his last years in Hawaii. I used to watch him quite a bit, and he was saying how he now loves growing old, but when he first started, people would say to him, "Would you like the pensioner's rate?" And he would say, "How dare you?" But he gradually thought, well, it is cheaper. And then Reverend Rhonda, who's at the ministry in Brisbane, Reflections of Truth, which you maybe get a chance to see. She said on a Zoom at the weekend, "I'm now part of the Fun Over 50s Club." I don't know if I like the sound of that. You know, I go into quite a few old folks' homes, and I just hear, if I hear they're having a bingo game, and I nearly scream. But that's what happens, and thank goodness there are people in these homes at times like this. I know quite a few that are working in homes, and it can be quite demanding, as we know, when we look after older people. But here we are, we've got Christmas, and it's out of the way, and we've got New Year. Normally, we do the burning bowl right about the New Year, but because we're only live every fortnight, this is a good time to do it. So I'm going to start with a saying I've used a couple of times before, but I don't know whether I made it really clear. I think it's a Buddhist saying. I thought that was our ghost. That's why. I think it's a Buddhist saying. I get so many notes, and in my early part of my ministry, I used to get told off because I didn't put the name of where I got the quote. And I'm afraid that's still with me a little bit. Here it is. God made us the perfect seed. He did not make us the perfect tree, but the perfect seed. He, in the inverted commas, did not make us as we might have been, but as we might become. So we are responsible. We've got this power in us, and it's an awesome responsibility. If anything goes wrong, it's up to us to deal with it. God wants his creation to expand and expand and expand and expand, so it can be more expressed. When we are ready, we will be called up higher. And I clarify that it's not necessarily up high, we expand. But it may not be during the times of the church calendar. For example, it may not be in Advent. Those 4 weeks where we concentrate on the 4 candles, and those 3 wise men, every year they set out on their camels to Bethlehem for the Christ child. Our illumination may not come then. And it may not come at Lent time, another sacred time for us here. We don't have many rituals in Unity, but we've got a couple. But I like the Bible because it's, well, culturally I was brought up with it as a Methodist, as you know. Took a bit of getting over, but here I am. And how I've managed to get through all those years, I think, goodness me, thank God for the metaphysics of the Bible. The Fillmores were pretty brave, you know, because they lived in Kansas, and I think it was in the Bible Belt, and I think it was reasonably segregated at the time. And he had to bring through these teachings that were metaphysical, which meant something that people could understand, not the fact that a snake told Eve to eat an apple, or that Jonah lived in the whale for 3 days and nights. The metaphysical approach makes this so clear. That's why I love these teachings. So it is in consciousness, not in time. So as I was saying, it doesn't necessarily have to happen tomorrow, yesterday, or whenever. It'll happen when we're ready. This has to come with this. One step at a time, onwards we go. Now, we may have been born perfect, but it takes time and experience before we can express more and more of that perfection. From the writings of Melinda E. Kramer, a divine science minister who knew the Fillmores, they were all together, the whole bang lot of them, as Science of Mind people. They all went to a place called the International New Thought Alliance and met there and compared notes. Any seed contains the form and potentialities of the complete plant before the growth begins. So knowledge is the essence of our nature before our development in knowledge is started. So the process of revelation of truths is new to us, comes from within rather than from without us. There's a song we quite often sing here called It's All Inside Us. Like everyone else, we sometimes find it hard to take regular time to go within, for whatever reason. Sometimes we're in a world of ups and downs, and it really does take a lot of navigating to the blessings and challenges we face, because we're going to face them. In our young years, I notice them now as I'm getting older, that people seem to enjoy life. You know, they've got their phones and do this to find this and that. But the time changes, that doesn't last. And so here I am at this point in my life, as some of us here are. But in the meantime, this is where we find symbols, mandalas, candles and music to be of great value because it can invoke the spirit of reverence in us. And when I used to go to the Theosophical Society in the city, I don't think it's in the same spot now, but I used to go there in my 20s and 30s. I used to love, I'd spend all morning there. Then you'd walk out into the traffic with the clanging old trams and the noise, and I'd walk down to the music shop, but on the way I had to pass St. Francis Cathedral. And it was so nice. It was, I think it was about 11:30 in the morning, and there was someone practicing the organ, and there was no one else in there, so I just sat there, and I watched the stained glass windows, heard the music, beautiful statue of Mary, very comforting, and I thought, this is it. And it brought me back to that point within me. Now, symbols are great for us until we get to the point where we don't need them. I don't know if I'll ever get to that point, but they call it established consciousness, where nothing can knock us off our perch. Nothing. I once gave a talk called Will Your Anchor Hold? In this, I use the symbology of the sea, the ship and the anchor. The sea, water, represents our emotions. We read of Jesus walking over the water and calling out with great feeling and gusto, "Peace, be still." If we have faith, we can restore calm to our troubled emotions. As we unfold, not only is it possible to be aware of the greatest good, but what goes with it is you can see the abuse of that good. And we have to walk on that water and keep the high watch. Don't let us sink down. Then we get to the ship. That's us. When a ship is built, if it's built properly, it will sail safely. It may look good in the harbour, but it's not meant to sit in the harbour. It has to be able to ride the sea in all conditions. It can't remain at sea for too long without arriving back to the harbour for maintenance so it can be remaining seaworthy for the next journey. But it needs to drop anchor on something secure, remaining stationary while awaiting repairs. We are like that. We need maintenance and often repair to continue our journey. Now, apart from our physical condition, we need spiritual nourishment, a retreat into meditation and silence, an attunement with our higher self. We listen for that inner wisdom to guide us on the way in this sea of life, as I said, with all its ups and downs. This is a school, a mystery school. For us, this is our spacesuit we're wearing, and we have to look after it while we're here, for as long as we're here. Because as long as we're here, we can express more and more and more. And I remember at school, in the last year of high school, one of our girl students was expecting a baby. And of course, you can imagine in Tasmania in the 50s, the outrage. This lady had to come to Melbourne, and she came over and had it here quietly and didn't see it again for another 15 years. Whereas people were jumping up and down saying, oh, that's terrible, that's disgusting, Spirit would be saying, wow, another expression is born. This is wonderful. And when she met her son 15 years later, I was there as well. It was wonderful. Now the anchor. The anchor is as strong as our faith, and the anchorage is a solid resting place in the everlasting arms of Spirit. I like that. In the Hawaiian tradition, the kahunas, years before the Christian ministries arrived, they called the higher self the amakua, totally trustworthy parent. That is stunning. I love that. I can relate to that. Now, we're at a time now, it's vital to keep the anchor of faith in action. For we know we are living in challenging times, so it's important for us to keep afloat. This is not a time to be timid with our beliefs, but have faith in ourselves and that higher power, knowing that there is a higher power and a higher thing happening in the world at the moment. I've a sneaking suspicion, and it's not only me, we all want to be, enlightened. But it's all right for one person to be enlightened, but we're at the stage now we need collective enlightenment. And I think we have the technology here now to point us in that direction. A collective consciousness. Now that was from a magazine I read 20 years ago. I nearly threw it out because I've got a few things to do and put stuff in new, send on the old. But there again, we need to be collectively involved. So we talked about symbols, and here we are. So I'd ask Lorraine, would you come up and light this main big Christ candle for us, and we'll get into the service. Thank you, Lorraine. I'm going to take the service from Minister's Manual for Unity Churches. I'd forgotten I had it, but I just want to keep a bit of tradition. So now, the opening prayer is, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. It's based on Psalm 51, verse 10. The purpose of our time here is not wishful thinking for the future, but a time of definite work of denial and affirmation in consciousness, a cleansing of the old so that we can bring in the new. We shall achieve this by denying any errors of the last year and passing and affirming, making firm the patterns of truth for the new year. Each one of you will have an opportunity to write down on one of the papers furnished that which has been part of the old and you want released. We're passing that around now, thank you. On the other sheet, representing a clean, fresh start, you are to write down your desires and individual desires for the new year. For his own convenience, man divided life into the activity of periods he calls time. In reality, there is only eternal now. Now is the time. Now is the day of salvation. Now is the time to lay conscious hold of our good, but our good awaits our recognition and acceptance. We're going to enter into a short period of meditation, followed by a time of silence, and you're asked to write on the slip of paper a word or two of denial referring to the condition from you wish to release. After your meditation, we invite you to come forward and set afire your denial into the flame of the candle and into the burning bowl afterwards. This is to symbolise your acceptance of the purging fire of Spirit and the light of Christ. And as Luke 3:16, he shall baptise you in the name of the Holy Spirit. And I think we're all just about there. We've got something to lean on, and got bits of paper, 2 bits of paper each. Eh? Yeah, I'll have a couple, Wayne, thank you. Just on, 2. No, 1. One on the one.
Trying to confuse me, aren't you?
Sorry. Well, I want one and a pen. I've got a pen.
You got a pen.
Thank you. Yes. One is to write down your denial, and then when you've done that and burnt it, you sit down and write something else for yourself, an affirmation from the future. A short meditation. I am free from the past and the mistakes of the past and the results of the past. I know the truth, and the truth sets me free. Please now come forward, row by row, each of you igniting his slip of paper with its denial, then dropping it into the urn provided. As you do so, repeat, this is no longer part of my life. The forgiving love of God in the truth of Christ now makes me free. And as you do, you burn it in there, and you walk across, and there's a bunch of sayings in that little bowl there. Feel free to take one.
That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Thank you. That was lovely.
Oh, I didn't do my. Did I get one? Yes. Did I do mine?
What do we have on the agenda now?
No idea. I've got a routine. Hang on, we're right.
Okay.
Yes, that's good. Ooh. I've still got a bit of this.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, have you all written your new affirmation? And don't forget, there's some ones in there. Did everyone take one? Or
Yeah.
there's a little one there. I just realised I found this from last year in my jacket. And it's been dry cleaned twice. I let go and let God reveal my good to me. And is that so good to have now? Anyway, keep the slip of paper with your affirmation written on it. Keep it. I like to keep my things in my Bible for some reason. When we get our intention circle requests, Leslie sends it through. I print it out and I put it in the Bible. It's a giant print Bible, I might add, which I need these days, and somewhere for safekeeping, and refer to it throughout the year, especially at the conclusion of the year next year. So let us welcome the new year by affirming in the light of Christ consciousness as we move in and express our higher good. And that's from the old Unity Service book. I'm going to place it back on our little shrine. And that's been used by ministers here since Reverend Leonardo. Okay. Now, we did Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Let's do something a little bit more. Reverend Sylvia isn't on, but she did ask for this particular song. It's called Joyful, Joyful.